Hello and welcome to Seattle Walla. Today we are actually talking about Seattle real estate trends. Seattle Walla is a social media platform which is born out of the Indians in Seattle. It's a Facebook group. We're working on connecting the Indian community in the greater Seattle area. So we connect members with the service providers, businesses, and share the information out of the Indian community as it happens. So, welcome to today's session on Seattle real estate trends. Today, we have real estate professionals with us, Ranjani, Sunaina, and Prakash. And also, we have Kiran, who is our lending agent. Welcome, everyone. I will have everybody introduce themselves. I would start with Prakash.
Hi, I'm Prakash Gowda. I've been in the real estate for about 4 years now, and I cover most of the Greater Eastern side. And yeah, mm,
Ranjani.
Hello, everybody. This is Ranjani Ravi with Agency One Real Estate in Bellevue. I've been a real estate agent since 2017 and have had the opportunity to serve over 200 plus clients in the greater Seattle area. We are very thankful for this opportunity. And I also like to make real estate videos to help break myths about real estate. I like to be part of a lot of real estate investor groups to get to know about new opportunities in and outside the state. So this is a great opportunity, and I'm happy to be part of this panel.
Super. Sunaina.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is Sunana, founder and owner of Sunana Real Estate Services. I'm one of the top 5 producers for the year 2020 with a gross annual sales of over 60 million last year and by God's grace over 50 million this year. Team Sunana consists of 8 realtors, and we are all experienced realtors, and we take great pride in saying that we are not salespeople. By that, we mean we educate and guide our clients so that they are able to choose their dream home. And once they do choose that, we convert it into reality. So, thank you, Prasad and Ramesh, for having us over and organizing this event. I'm very excited to be here.
Super. We are too. Kiran, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, this is Kiran, and I have been working in the lending like for almost like a past 10 years. So I am associated with KeyBank right now. My passion is to basically like help people like who want to like basically like once they find a home that they want to buy, help them get into that home. Like mostly dealing with all this like how do you qualify, and then like what are the things that you do and what are the things that you shouldn't be doing, and all those kind of like step by step like hand holding to get you into the home that they like.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
We also have a real estate investor, Mr. Naveen, with us. Naveen, would you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Naveen. I've been a Washington resident for over 16 years now. I invest in real estate passively. I hope I'll bring some different perspective in terms of investing in the south side of, Seattle. Most of your audience are probably, well versed or planning to invest on the King County and that areas. But I am more into the south side, and which works better for our investing formula. So hopefully I'll be able to bring in some different perspective and different expertise in terms of how to invest into rentals on the south side of it. So
Fantastic. Thank you, panel. Looks like today is going to be an interesting discussion. We have three different teams literally in this group. So I do hear that Seattle market, real estate market is hot. I mean, I really don't know what hot actually means, but understanding the fact that it is definitely hot, and with the numbers and people talking about it, I would like to actually have our audience have more information about it. So, Ranjini, would you please give us a overview of the current market trends, if you could, please.
Absolutely. Thank you, Prasad. And yeah, we would definitely, like to understand what hot market means. So currently, we have this slide, which is to show we are kind of seeing the trend from, 2011 all the way till 2021. This shows the data for the King County specifically. We are comparing like some of the main cities, Redmond, Bellevue, Bothell, and Sammamish. So if we see back in like 2011, the median price for most of these areas were somewhere around 400 to 600K, and it was a very affordable range, I must say. But today, if we would see the trend, you can see that Bellevue is leading with the median sales price ranging around 1.45 million, and in Redmond it is around 1.25 million, in Bothell around 850,000, and in Sammamish around 1.35 million. So this is all data for the single family homes in the King County area. So if we also compare the metrics between residential and condo market, we are seeing that there has been a big dip in the number of new listings that we get. So between 2020 and 2021, there's almost a 13% dip in those listings. So that means lesser the number of homes, more demand. So there is always this, sales supply versus demand issue that we face. And another important data point to see in this is the number of days on market, which is really important, because last year, which was also a hot market, since COVID, we have been seeing that extra demand for single family home, especially with people working from home. So the number of days on market was 18 days, and now it has come down to like 12 days. So it takes less than even 2 weeks to get homes under contract, which is like crazy. And the average sales price we are seeing has gone up almost 20% for single family homes. So from 900K, it has jumped to like 1.6 million, which is 1.06 million, which is like almost 20% jump. Versus if we see the condo market, that has been kind of steady, not that crazy, so to speak. So there's still, the median sales price has gone up over 13% and average sales price over 11%, but still in the affordable range. So I think overall it is a very, quick and hot market, and the trend continues to be so, even though we are getting into some of the, the cooler months of real estate. So we hope that it stabilizes and becomes favorable to the buyers, but I think only time will tell that.
So thank you. That was a great explanation. So when we talk about market being hot, it is a seller's market, or is it?
So it is definitely a seller's market.
Also.
So, because the number of homes that are available are super less. So usually it should be around 4 to 6 months worth of inventory for it to be a balanced market. But currently we have less than 1 month. So if you can see, it is actually 0.6 months of inventory. So it takes, less than 2 weeks to homes to go pending. So if it is a seller's market, we have very less inventory compared to what it would be in a balanced market.
Fantastic. So any information about a single family and multifamily, which you already did speak about, but anything in specific, if anybody wants to be investing in anything currently, what would you suggest from your side?
So definitely the appreciation for single family market has been great. It has almost gone up like 20 to 25%. But you also need to make cash flow. So basically, if your monthly payments and your rents are not in sync, you're not going to have the positive cash flow. So I think you have to pick your markets where you still have the opportunity to have positive cash flow to invest in such a market. So I think the opportunity is still there, but you need to tap into some of the different counties. Like a lot of people are moving from King to Snohomish for such reasons, and they are able to buy some affordable home and get a good price for what they pay in King.
Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ranjini.
Thank you.
Naina, If I really want to buy a house, do I really need a real estate agent?
Well, you're talking to a professional real estate agent, so the answer has to be yes, right? Jokes apart, I would definitely say yes, you need a real estate agent. Because if I can throw some light and be really candid in answering this question, right? Because here's what happens realistically: real estate is not a business of homes. So don't jump on me. It's a business of people. And when I say that, it's all about people, the listing agent, the seller, buyer's agent, buyers. So there are a lot of emotions involved, and the stakes are really, really high. So, on the buyer side, conventionally, what a real estate agent would do is help you find a house based on your needs, wants, search criteria, budget, dig about the neighborhood, schools, give you advice about that. Of course, the contracts, that goes without having mentioned that. Of course, all the nitty gritties of the contract, explain to you what it means, explain what you're signing, the contingencies, and having said of all of those technical process, the most logical process that you could think of, to add on to that, in our Washington state market, it's very important to have an aggressive real estate agent on your side, because post COVID, I think the market has gone crazy, and crazy is an understatement,
Yeah.
because there have been just no timelines. There are no cutoff timings at all. And I'll just give you an example, right? Last night I was negotiating on an offer at around 11 p.m. and post 11 p.m. we won the offer for my buyer. So that's how crazy it has gone. And having no cutoff times and having the homes sell within, sometimes within minutes that they have come up on the market. Last week we won a client a home within 90 minutes it's been listed. So right from showing you the house to negotiating, winning, and to giving you the keys to the house, to do all this process stress free, you definitely need a real estate agent. The only con
Absolutely.
that a layman would think, oh, how about I do it myself versus having an agent, would be all about money, right? But that money is very well spent and worth every penny if you hire a full-time professional agent on your side. And a
Great.
lot of times, people think it's very important to just have a buyer's agent, but not a seller's agent, like, I mean, a listing agent. But that's not true. Actually, the stakes are much, much higher for a seller. Not all sellers are aware that once you sign a contract, legally the contract always protects the buyer, and technically
Right.
there's no way out. Like,
Right.
suppose you're a seller, you list a house, you sign a contract. Once you sign it, it gets into a stage of mutual acceptance. Let me
Right.
take a step behind. Like, when a buyer's agent presents a contract, it only contains buyer's signatures. And when a seller accepts your contract and he signs on it, and the contract reaches the inbox of the buyer's agent, it's a mutual contract. And say the
Right.
next minute the seller changes his mind, okay, or the next hour his spouse is not ready to sell the house, or whatever are the n number of reasons,
Right.
if they decide not to sell the house, legally there's no way out of the contract. So it's very, very critical to have a listing agent on your side as well. And having said that, it's all about strategizing to a personal level, because every family is going to be very different and needs are going to be very different. And I often see that I end up playing the bad cop a lot of times. What I mean by that is, I can only tell by examples, right? So because there's so much of escalation, low inventory, COVID, work from home, all these scenarios have uh, pushed our buyers in a way to just pay sometimes unrealistic prices for the homes. So
Right.
as an agent, I'm that third party bad cop to tell you that, hey, no, this is our hard limit. Remember, you decided that you want to still go out for vacation, you still have to pay for the daycare for 2 kids and
Right.
all those other fees and things involved. So don't push yourself to the max and buy the house. So more often I see myself playing a bad cop. So I think yes, you should hire a realtor for these reasons. And if time would permit, I could just go on and on about this. But
I know
yeah.
that's wonderful information. But I really like the way you started your conversation. You said it's all about people and it's not about homes. So do you really mean that it is all about people, and you do actually talk with the buyers themselves, sit with them, do a kind of a formal, informal interview with them, their wants, their needs when they want to buy a house? Do you really do that?
Yeah, by God's grace, I have been blessed in reading people and understanding their
Fantastic.
needs. And I don't think going to any school would have taught that. It just came naturally being a people's person. So, be
That's
it real estate or not real estate, I would be able to read. Like sometimes my clients always make fun of this and they say, oh, Sunana is like a mind reader, you know. So even if two spouses are talking to each other, even before they complete their sentences, I know what they mean to
what's
say
coming
and
out.
what their
Perfect.
priority is. So I think being just very passionate about the work is the most important thing. And being a buyer's agent is extremely difficult task. So kudos to each one of us being here on the panel, because we are working really, really hard post COVID. So I think just having that kind of rapport and connection. And I say this on my first call with every client that I'm going to be very blunt, very straightforward. You might not like what I'm saying, but it is in your best interest. So once they understand that, only then I take them as clients. So I think
Thank
that's a give and take. You know, it just cannot be like giving. I need to listen and then I need to react, and then they need to listen and they need to react as well. So it's a
thank
combination.
you.
It's like a teamwork.
Thank you.
Would your answer be
Uh,
the same for an investor too?
No,
Y- y-
I think for investors it's all about numbers.
Yes, yes. So do they need an agent?
I think it depends if it is your first investment property or second or third.
Okay.
And I will be very candid in admitting that I have had the privilege of working with some investors who are extremely knowledgeable. It could be like their eighth or ninth property that they are investing in, and they will know as much as I do, or sometimes even more than I do, about numbers, because they are so specifically looking for that niche. And I think why you would need a realtor if you were an investor and you had so much expertise would be to just handle the contracts
Yeah.
and to be the winning offer there, just to play with the contingencies. And remember, it's a teamwork, like I said. So if an investor is all about numbers, then I take over the burden, or the actual decision making process, and I brainstorm out of the box strategies on how we could win. Because there are no emotions, so it's like
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
switch.
Yeah.
If it's a first
Exactly.
time home buyer or a primary residence, then it's a switch which toggles towards everything else that I spoke till now. But if it's an investor, then I'm a total different person because it's all about numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
nice.
Same answer from other real estate agents. Do you guys concur? You guys have a different perspective?
Well, I think having a real estate agent goes without saying. It's, you need somebody to handhold you from start to finish. I'm sure we see a lot of people who try to do the for sale by owner signs. We see them here and there, and
Yes.
they want to give it a shot or give their, ability to see how they can save that, 3% or 6%, whatever the fees may be. But most of the time, 80% of the times, we see them relisted again with a real estate agent. So it's about how we present the home, because it's a very short window that you have to market your home and get all the eyeballs on it. So it is like literally preparing for a wedding kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
you just get that one D-Day where you need to catch all the eyeballs and get everybody to see your home and put their best foot forward, because people and buyers' attention span is really less. If this home is not working out, doesn't look great, they just want to swipe right or left and go to the next home. So we, as your partner in this, we help you put your best foot forward. strategize on the price, because I think pricing is so important. People look at their neighbors, they look at their friends, they're like, oh, this person sold at this price, and they want to put a price that, people may not even be qualified for that price. But pricing it where, it will get the maximum number of people to come through, because more often than not, people are ready to push their limits or their budget for something they really love and like. So we want to get you at the sweet spot where you can draw the maximum number of people into the home and get it the maximum exposure that your home deserves and desires.
Yeah. Yeah. Full disclaimer, unless I buy something in an auction, I want to have a real estate agent. They always seem to negotiate better than I do, so yeah,
Right.
yeah. Okay.
And we don't have the emotional thing, as Sunena said, into the
Right,
conversation,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Because you are fully invested in it emotionally, and we are here to keep you on track and get the work done.
Well said,
Thank
Ranjit.
you, guys.
Would you agree, Prakash?
Yes, exactly. Real estate
Perfect.
agents are, always required, because it's the legalities involved in the contractual terms are more important. When it comes to the contracts, they know better. They are indulging in all these things day in and out. So the advice there would be much more needed by the buyers or sellers. And also, as my colleagues said, it's always selling also a lot more, because presenting a house is to the market is like presenting a bride to the bridegroom. It's always, you cannot just pick a girl from the playing ground and then show her. It's rather, it's always, you understand how the trend goes, right? So when you show the bride in a proper way, definitely there's more interest. So creating the interest and advising the seller to presenting the house or the property at the right price is more important. Which
Thank you, Prakash.
gives
My next
opportunity
question
to
is
all
to
of
you,
them.
Prakash. So, thank you. So, we see a lot of Redfin and Zillow, and I'm sure there are a ton of other websites where we have so much information. My home costs so much. My neighbor sold it for so much, and all that. So, how is a real estate agent really different from these Redfin and Zillows?
See, it's always like this. Do you want to have a one-stop shop, or do you want to interact with multiple agents? It's one thing. When you interact
Okay.
with Redfin, definitely you're not, do you want an agent to come and open the keys for the house, or do you want the agent to give you the inputs of the house, just not, opening the key, or, coming and giving you the, details about the house, more, like giving you all what you need, when you like the house. So if you go with a Redfin agent, probably they will come, open the key, and just let you in, and then you ask anything, they don't have an answer. Like when you come with us, we give you all the details. That's one thing.
Nice.
And Zillow, mostly the Zillow agents, the agents give money and then post themselves where they get cold leads. So when buyers go and look at Zillow, or they ping through Zillow, they just get a agent where probably they wouldn't know them better. Like agents always, when you go to a full-time agent, and where like we don't what do you say, go through Zillow, or we get more referrals because of our work. So that's always better, go to a full-time agent, and also one-stop shop agent where they don't discount things,
I see.
right? Now, because basically what happens, coming to that thing again, why people go to Redfin or Zillow is more of, asking, okay, they give back something. Okay,
I see.
this is our salary, basically, right?
Right.
So if we are not able to defend our salary, do you think we can we will be able to defend our client? I don't think so,
Right.
right? So that's more important. So give value, I mean, whoever gives value to their work, then that's more important. So that's why we are very, very different from Redfin and Zillow.
Thank you. Um,
You're welcome.
Ranjini,
Yes.
so if I want to buy a house, what is my first step?
Sure. So I'm sure most of the people, they want to start their first step, start browsing, and they want to start visiting homes and want to go jump onto the home and see everything and get on that way. But honestly, we need to, step back. The first step, which I would like to tell everybody who is watching, whether they're working with an agent or on their own, is to get a pre-approval done. I'm sure Kiran would agree with that, but getting the pre-approval is like the first step to get into the process, because you need to know how much a lender is willing to lend you. Because if you start shopping without knowing your budget, you are definitely going to exceed it, or may fall short of it. So when you go to a lender, they are able to look at all your credit, your debts, all the how much you can afford, your debt to income ratio, and things like that, so which presents you as a better buyer in front of the seller. So you're fully aware of your financial health. And especially in a market like Seattle, like where we talked about how hot the market is and how quickly things move. So if you are going to start your pre-approval process only after you've seen the home might have gone by then, right? So it is super important to get the pre-approval done. I honestly tell my clients during our our buyers consult very clearly to definitely start off with the pre-approval, and also do something called underwriting, which is super important, because that makes the lender look at all of your documents, almost like you've gotten your loan. Because in this market, you're not just competing with other buyers getting a loan, you're competing with full cash buyers as well, who are ready to waive all the appraisal and all the contingencies and buy like how you buy things on Amazon. So it is really important for you to stand out. And when you're underwritten and the lender has looked at all of your documents, if you are in a situation where you need to close quickly, the lender is able to do so. So you can challenge a cash buyer and tell them, hey, if you are closing in 2 weeks, I can do the same. And somebody on the other end has looked at everything that I've submitted, and I'm among the sea of borrowers or the sea of options that you have, I have been fully vetted. So I think all buyers should definitely, start off with a local lender, somebody who knows this market, and not just go online and like, hey, I got a pre-approval letter from ABC Bank. Sometimes when we ask our buyers that because we definitely start showing them homes only after they are pre-approved. So that gives a sense of security to them as well as to us, that we are working with somebody who is committed. So most of the buyers, when I ask them to get a pre-approval letter, the biggest pushback that I get is, oh no, my credit score is going to be hit. 100 points are going to go off my credit score. So I do understand that concern, but honestly, you have been waiting for this day and building a great credit score to get excellent rates from the lender. So if you have good credit score, there's nothing to worry. Yes, you will see a dip because it's a hard pull. They cannot look at all your assets without doing that pull. So yes, there will be a 10 to 12 points or something in that range, but it is not going to suddenly, bring down your credit score to a place where you'll have to build it all over again. So rather on focusing on those 10 points, I would rather go back to your portfolio and kind of check that you have not missed any payments or things like that. Like I had a client who had done everything and was ready to place an offer, but was so hesitant to get his credit pull. And when we did that, we found that he hadn't paid his Comcast bill, which went into collections, which is like $30-40 can cost you so much. And his credit score came down drastically. He was expecting it's going to be a stellar 800 score, and it was unfortunately 650. So at that point, we had to, give up the hopes of putting an offer on his dream home and work on improving his credit and repairing it and doing all the things that we did bring it back to where it should be. But, it's a long process. So it takes 2 to 3 months to do that. So it is very important if you start it off at the beginning of the process, you already know where you stand and there are no last minute surprises because nobody wants to be given a shocker at that point.
Yeah. So one question about the pre-approval that you did mention. I know it is a super hot market, as you said, 12 days, 13 days in the market and the house is gone. If you're so serious in buying your dream house, you can pretty much close in 15 days, I guess. But what is the validity on a pre-approval?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So it's a credit approval that has a validity. So usually it is around 90 to 120 days. And it varies, I think, from bank to bank. So once you get the pre-approval, it doesn't mean that, you have to get a home for that price or that's the max amount. That is something a lender can work with you and can help you, tweak the numbers to match each offer that you place. So once you get the credit approval done, it's valid for 120 days. But as such, the approval can be varied. Sometimes, I like to tell my clients, even if you're approved for like $1 million and you're buying probably a 500K home, you can get it changed to 500K. You don't want to show all your cards to the seller and say, hey, seller, I'm ready with $1 million, but I want to, underpay or pay very competitive prices for the home that you have listed at 500. So once you have the maximum range, you can play around in that aspect.
Thank you. Kiran, I'm not ignoring you at all. You have a full list of questions when I'm actually done with the others on the team. So
no worries,
just hang in there. Enjoy our conversation while we will enjoy your conversation later.
Sure, definitely.
Sunaina,
I would like to add, if time permits, I would like to add a few words to what Ranjini said. Very well explained, Ranjini. And what I would also suggest the buyer to do is, if he's qualified for an X amount, let's say for an example, he's qualified for 1.2, right? You need to do some reverse digging. You don't have to set up your home search at the max of 1.2. Do reverse digging as in check what your monthly mortgage is, right? And then based on your monthly mortgage, you set a limit to your home search. A lot of times people keep extending their budget in our market because sky is the limit. So you kind of want to, for example, if your max is like at around 1.2, that's what you're qualified for, approved for. Our amazing lender Kiran has given you the pre-approval letter of 1.2. But then I would say, what is your monthly mortgage that you're comfortable, looking at all your other expenses, and then go at least 10 to 20% below that and set up your max search. So if you're comfortable paying the mortgage for $1 million, then set up your search only for 800 or 850 and go and see homes only up to 900 and not more than that. Because otherwise you just keep stretching your budget, especially in a Washington state market. Every single time a buyer comes to me, if his max is X amount, they usually end up buying at least 10 or 20% more than what they expect. So the first conversation is like, tell me what your hard budget is. And then I set the limit 200K lower than that. And I say, don't go and see the other homes. Yeah, just adding that on a approach.
That's awesome. And again, I have a comment from one of our viewers. Good information about home and all the nitty-gritties that go with it. Thank you so much, all of you, for this great information. And Sunaina, awesome point right there. So you'll have your next question. So we hear off-market property. How is this different from listed one using an MLS?
So whenever I answer a question, there is always this dilemma. As a realtor, I have huge liabilities to answer questions, right?
Yeah, this is informational. This is informational session. So we are not committed for anything.
Yes. For
Again, I want
educational
to
purposes
reiterate.
only. Yes, for educational purposes only. This is
Yes.
an extremely subjective discussion, okay? Whether you have to buy an off market property or whether you have to buy something listed on MLS.
MLS.
And my answer will be totally opposite based on which client I'm working with. So it would be dependent on if I am representing the seller or I'm representing the buyer. Because in very candid terms, real estate's job, like realtor's job, is more like a lawyer's job. I can either defend the guilty or the victim. I can't do both, right?
Both. Yeah.
So example. So I had a listing last month in Bottle. We were planning to list it at around 1.15 million, and
Okay.
beautiful house, all nice things, and obviously every house will have some cons as well. So the seller was a little hesitant of whether they should list it or not. And I had a buyer in my buyer's pool, right? I have buyers and sellers. So in my buyer's
Right.
pool was ready to pay 1.2 million for the house, even without seeing it. The house
Okay.
needed a carpet change and a new paint, which was approximately around $30,000 for a 3,400 square footage home. So, in my best interest, with my vested incentive, because I would make both the sides of commission, my
Right.
advice to them should have been sell to this buyer, easy
Right.
peasy, don't
Yes.
have any work to do, no listing, no upgrades.
Right.
But I did not do that because my loyalty is going to be towards one party, and that was towards the seller. So I said, we have to list the house because you wouldn't know what you would fetch for our house if you would not list it. Because right now I know 10 buyers, right? I only know what those max 10 buyers can pay for your house. I'll check with 1 to 10 and give you the highest number who's ready to pay. But if I list it, it opens the windows to like 1,000, 10,000 people in Seattle, Washington State, California, New York, just
Yeah.
everybody.
Everybody.
So in the end, the house ended up selling at 1.43 million. Okay.
Fantastic.
And the clients were extremely excited and thrilled.
Yeah.
So that's
Nice.
a well done job. But yesterday, I'm negotiating on an off market deal, which has not been listed on the MLS, from a seller. Okay. He was just going to list the house. We happened to be there and we were just too excited about the house. And when I say we, I'm working with the buyer's end. Then my role is reversed, right? I'm
Right.
trying to do everything I can do, and this is a part of the job. I have to do everything it takes to win him the house before it gets listed. And that's
Right.
exactly what we did. So we won the
Nice.
house before it got listed. So it would depend if I'm on the buyer side or the seller side. But what's the most important tip that I would want to give the audience is you need to trust and work with a person who's not having their vested interest in guiding you. That's all I would say.
Thank you so much. That is really very humane. Wonderful job done there. Prakash, my next question is for you, sir.
Yeah.
What are the important things to consider when buying a home? Is it like neighborhood or schools or area or pricing or what?
Yeah, it all depends upon the needs of the clients, needs of the buyers. Definitely, the important things are the location, and the schools. Definitely, these are, and the condition of the house. These are the three important things which you need to look at when you're buying, because always the price point increases, or the appreciation happens in a better way when you look at the location of the house and the condition of the house. So that's very much important to look at. And definitely the schools gives that extra boost for the neighborhood, where people definitely seek better schools, and so that's where more of the neighborhood is built around, and the trend starts there. And again, the what do you say, the basic amenities which would be closer to the neighborhood, where reaching to the freeways, or travel time taken to the work place. All these things also carries important, but mostly it was always the location, the condition, and the neighborhood schools
School
gives
district.
more
Okay.
yeah, school district, yes.
Okay, so I do understand when and I do hear people saying that this is a good school district, that is a good school district, we have to get a home there. But what kind of buyer community are you looking at? You should be looking at people who are with kids. There could be people who are trying to buy a house without kids. So I mean, older people. So what kind of difference do you find in those two different kinds of groups of people when you're dealing with?
So usually what happens, the older people, they look at the basic amenities, what they need. They don't want to travel much farther, so they want to stay closer to all their needs and necessities. So that's what they look at. They don't look at the schools, or are there any kids are around, or like that. Usually the families who are rather new families, or families having small kids, they look at the schools
The school
and the
district.
neighborhood where they could find equal aged kids, or a little bit older, or a little bit lower aged kids, where the kids can play around. That's one thing. And school the commute point to the school also
Yeah,
adds to this.
right.
These are the things what
So
they look at.
perfect. So I'm sure crime rate in the locality also plays a
Yes,
very
absolutely.
important role as
Yeah,
well in buying the house.
absolutely. That is needless to say, because that's where we say location, condition. So
Condition.
these things are very, very important. Location and condition
Very
of the
nice.
house.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have a
Thank you,
question
Prakash.
on that.
Sure.
So, as an investor,
Yes.
should I be investing in King County?
It doesn't depend on King County, or Pierce County, or Snohomish County. It all depends on the workforce, where people who are not able to buy tend to rent out. So that is the lookout what the investors are looking at. It's more of return on investment.
Essentially, looking for an appreciation, not a
Yes.
cash flow.
No. Yes.
Is that where it is? If I'm looking for an appreciation, King County is not a bad place to invest.
Yes.
In this bidding war and all that stuff, have you guys seen like it making any sense to, invest in King County, at least in the prime areas like Bellevue, Redmond, Sammamish?
See, investors doing in prime areas look at things in a different way. It's like it might be what do you say, um remodeling kind of thing, or flip kind of house, or where there a lot size which exists, where you can subdivide the lot, where you can use the second home or third home, uh, to give all your numbers. That's more important. So that's where, when you work around King County, where in Bellevue or Redmond, or Kirkland or Sammamish, it all depends on how you work through the investment. See, I had a situation with one of my client, who stays in a neighborhood where it's closer to Issaquah in Bellevue. Uh, there in his neighborhood, there was a house which had got pretty big lot. We were thinking it was supposed to be subdivided, and we can build another home. So he was ready to invest about $2 million there, for the home. But when we inquired with the city, that is where sometimes people market, it can be subdivided, but it is all buyers, they have to inquire everything. So when I asked my client to check out on the Bellevue County city, for whether it could be subdivided, then he got an answer that it is not subdividable. So that is where we advise, okay, this is not a right kind of investment, because if you invest a $2 million, and then if you can subdivide, and in that neighborhood the same new construction could fetch you about at this present market $2.5 million, and by the
Yeah.
time the house is finished with all the permits done and turnaround time about a year and a half or two, so it would be around,
Yeah.
he could make double the money.
Sure. Sure.
So that is where, you need to calculate things. So here in King County. So when you go to Snohomish or Pierce County, like Puyallup and all, that's where, you see more of cash flow.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that seems to be the sweet spot for the cash flow. But coming
Yes.
back to your example, right?
Hmm.
Would you have you guys thought about like doing the ADU or the DADU? Another ADU, is that an opportunity? Is that going trend?
Uh, that trend, when you see the lot, and then when you're buying it as a primary residence for yourself, then you have a lot where you can have a Dadu or ADU kind of thing. That is a good investment. So if you're
Hmm.
not buying it as a primary residence, then it doesn't seem to be a good investment.
Okay. Okay.
Always, because see, you own a home already, then you are trying to invest and make something better out of it. So when you are investing, $2 million, it has to talk whether
Mm-hmm.
it's a good investment or not. If you go and invest without inquiring anything, and then at the end of the day it's waste there, you cannot do anything with such a lot, then there's no point in doing there. That, rather, you can split that money and then do a better investment, where you can get some cash flow in Snohomish County or Pierce County, right?
Yeah, that's exactly my experience has been. So I'm looking for somebody to kind of disprove my theory. You can still invest in King County. It's all okay, but I'm not hearing that. So yeah, I mean, in a way, good to know, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Prakash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Navin, for the
Thank you.
question. My next question is for Ranjani. We keep hearing now that we are in a seller's market. I mean, going back to your same hot market. So,
Yes.
what is seller's market?
Sure. So I would like to talk about seller's market with the graph that we have. If you could present that, the second slide.
It's coming up. Yeah, there you
Sure.
go.
This is still the first one. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. So honestly, first let's kind of understand the demand and supply situation. So as we talked about earlier as well, for it to be a balanced market, we need to have at least 4 to 6 months worth of inventory. So what does that mean is monthly supply. If there are X number of homes that are in the market and no other new home is being added to the market, it should take at least 4 to 6 months to sell these homes for us to be in a balanced market where it is favorable to both buyers and sellers. So this graph kind of shows us the trend, how things have been from 2006 all the way till date. So if we see around the 2008 2009 timeframe, that's when we had the big crash, and we all know we had like tons of home being flooding due to foreclosure and things like that. So that is when we had almost 8 to 10 months worth of inventory. So that was a big learning curve for pretty much, everybody, the builders, buyers and sellers. So there were a lot of homes and people were just, listing it left and right on the market. So at that point, a lot of the investors who were smart and who could see that we could, come back from that situation made a killing there. I know a lot of people personally who are able to buy 8 to 10 properties and now are just living off of the rent. So that was a great time. So talking about what Naveen was also asking, we need to ask ourselves what kind of investment we want to make. Are you thinking only about cash flow or are you thinking about appreciation? And there are some markets that are a mix, that are hybrid markets. And Washington has always been, kind of the appreciation market. So for us, so coming back to this chart, if we go back to after 2013, all we have seen is, less than 1 month worth of inventory. So it has been aggravated. Like it was close to 2 to 3 months, and now we are almost at less than 1 month worth of inventory. So that means we need that many more homes in the market to, satisfy the needs of the buyers who are coming into the market each day. And to add to this, we have so many relocation buyers. Most of my clients are relocating for Amazon and work and things like that. So it becomes even harder. So that's where people are looking for other opportunities. But the positive news here is we are only talking about, the prices and how high they are going, but we are not talking about the interest rates, because it's a tug of war between price and interest rate. So currently we are at a all-time low. It is at a 30 years, we have never seen such low rates. So for every 1% decrease in interest rate, your buying power increases by 10%. So if the rates, so that's a great important information, which I always share with my buyers, because, hey, buyers, I know you have to buy the home, but you're only looking at, how high the prices are going, but you're not looking at what your monthly payments are going to look like, right? So if you are able to afford only, for $1 million, now you are able to afford 10% more, and you can increase your budget and still be paying the same monthly payments for a home that you would have bought for $1 million. So my role, as always, I like to educate my clients, arm them with the knowledge to make this key real estate decision, because these kind of rates are, lowest in a lifetime. Like people have paid 19 to 20% in the 70s and 80s, and currently we are talking about low twos and less than 3%, and people are still trying to get a much lower rate. So this is, I think, a great opportunity, and I think people should think about buying even in King County, because there are a lot of homes, because a lot of the older population, they are thinking about migrating, or they are selling their old homes, moving to Arizona and things like that. So you need to have the mindset to be able to look at opportunity in some of the properties. Like one of my client was able to buy at the start of COVID a 675K home in Education Hill. Like that was on a 12,000 square foot lot, really nice location, but everybody said, oh my God, this home needs so much remodel, let's not even look into it. And now his estimates are like through the roof, and he's like so happy. But at that point, the education and the knowledge like we had to transfer was a long process, but now nobody's complaining. So I think it's all about seeing the market in the right way, because next year they are assessing that the prices will go up another 15 to 18%. So whoever is putting away buying, they are going to get priced out of certain areas. So then we'll have to talk about only other counties, and Snohomish is already reaching its, I think, limit. And now then we'll be talking about Pierce and Kitsap and all the counties we didn't even know existed.
Thank you, Ranjini. I have a question from one of our viewers. I will come back to that later after a couple of questions, but I want to go with Sunaina now. Sunaina, this is for you. As we are seeing the home prices are skyrocketing, we are seeing all these numbers and stuff. Should I buy a house or still continue to rent?
I think part of that question was answered very beautifully by Ranjini. So I don't want to repeat again what she said. But I think it should be always a combination of where you are personally and what your buying capacity is, and also how you would like to play with your money. Um, not every not every one of my buyers will agree and end up buying a home. Like some people would want to just invest in stocks. Some might just not like being tied to a location, or they are not yet decided. So then maybe buying home does not really make sense. Um, Yes, I think Kiran would definitely be able to help me out by saying how we can build our equity, our home values increase over time. You know, we may reap the tax benefits, we get unlimited freedom of customizing the living space, work from home, a sense of home stability. But having said all of that, all of these items should make personal sense to you. Then yes, buying will be the right decision. Also, I meet a lot of young couples who might not have that kind of earnest money or that kind of down payment required to compete in this kind of market, right? And sometimes I have to be the bad cop and tell them and break their hearts and say, okay, maybe not at this point. Maybe you need to wait for some more time till you are ready to invest that kind of earnest money. And honestly, it's we can't deny it. The prices are sky high,
Or yeah,
and if for somebody it's not the right time for their personal finances, then it is not. But if you say that, hey, I'm going to wait for another year and then buy because it would come, because the prices would fall down, then that might also not be the right approach. As beautifully Ranjini explained, that
yeah,
if the
she
prices,
already gave the bad news to the
yes,
buyers because it's going to
yes,
skyrocket another
yes,
18%. So
yeah.
if it's not now, then probably it is not for another 2 years from now.
Yes,
I don't know.
yes, possibly. Like none of us have a crystal ball, so we don't know. But yeah, sometimes I do come across buyers for whom it might not be the right time to buy, and I think that is also fine if their lifestyle demands them to explore places and they have not yet decided. Then I think. They should not be FOMO, like the fear of missing out, just because the whole trend is about buying the homes. It's okay to take a step back and think if it's really what you want to do or not.
And
Um,
Sunela, would you agree that most of the time the buyers that we see who are still renting have been in Washington or been here for many, many years? So they have seen the trends go up, and they're like, I used to, see Bothell was just a jungle, or why should I pay $1 million for Bothell? Whereas somebody who has just moved from another city, they have sold their home, they know what they want, and they are ready to take that step. So do you guys see that happen more often than not? Like,
Yeah, I would definitely say it does happen, but then not what I'm trying to say is not everybody has that kind of a money and are ready
Mhm.
to spend that kind of money for a house. They
Right.
could be wanting to spend it on stocks or Bitcoin, or invest somewhere else, which also is okay. Yeah, that's my honest
Yeah,
opinion.
I think it's
Uh,
triggered by the mindset, what you
yeah,
want your money to
yeah,
do, for sure.
yeah.
Uh,
On that one,
that's such a
actually, my partner who's with me, that's a good example I can give you. He has been renting for last 18 years. He's been here for 18 years renting. He's in his apartment, so happy. He has, we both have 30 houses together. He's happy investing into properties, treating that as an unemotional thing, just like a stock or anything like that. But he's super happy, because then he's not tied to one place and all that stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think we do see,
Yeah, yeah,
people like that.
absolutely. Each to
Yeah.
his own. Like I know somebody. Sorry.
yeah.
Like my next door neighbor lives in 1,000 square feet ADU, and they as a couple own like 19 properties across Seattle. Very young couple, just 35 years old, 19 properties, and half the year they are not even here. They just travel. They are on a mountain trekking. So I think it's each to the own for sure. But if somebody comes to me and gives their exact finances and tells me, hey, this is where I am, then it would mean a little more digging and seeing if it really works for them to buy right now or not. I would not just advise that, hey, just because prices would increase next year, buy right now. now it would depend on where your finances are, if both the spouses are working or not, you have a baby coming on the way, so many other things, right? Like it's life. So
Right.
that would be my approach. Yeah.
So I hear both of you, but I'm going to give you a third view of people. Like if I'm going to be renting an apartment, I've been in a rented apartment or a house for 2 years, 3 years. Somebody would come to my house and say, "Are you still renting? You know what? You're wasting so much money for the same amount of rent that you could buy a house. It's going to be your house. In 30 years, you don't even know when the 30 years is gone and the house is yours. You could do 20 years, you could do 15 years." So what would you tell people like that? So, I'm sorry, but
That sounds
I-
like
I-
me telling my buddy.
So honestly,
I always tell that. Why are you renting? You should be buying. You're wasting your money. Yes, that sounds
It-
like me.
anyways,
it's
I'm
all-
not
it-
looking for an
it-
answer, but
Yeah, it's all the perception. It's
It
all
is.
depends on the perception of the individual. Who want to do their investment. How they want to do their investment. Whether they
Right.
do want to invest as real estate, or do they want to use it for their primary residence. All those. It depends upon all those
Right.
things.
so
Present
that's where I
situation.
think- yeah. Go
Present
ahead.
situation probably because of the low rent, low interest rates. I would rather say, like, your buying power has increased, so
Absolutely.
try to make most of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
agree.
Since you said that, Prakash, my next question is for you in the same line. So
Yeah.
if one has to go for a house, buy a house, what would you usually suggest? What would you advise them? A condo or a single home?
See, it's like this. It all depends on their budget, where they what is their budget, and where they want to place themselves for buying a house. Like if they if somebody wants to buy a property, own a property about around low 700s, and they want to stay in Redmond or Sammamish. It's very difficult to buy a single family home here. It's better to buy a townhome kind of thing. So that's one thing. See, basically, that's all. How they have the budget placed. So that's one thing. And my advice always would be, single family homes are better, because the appreciation value for the single family homes are way higher, as the single family homes, you have your own lot, you own the lot.
Right.
And condos, whether it's a townhome or an apartment building, you are in a co-op situation, because all of the owners are the owners of the complete land. So it doesn't carry that much appreciation value, though it also appreciates. Definitely single family homes carry more value. So that is my advice. Definitely would be that, to go in for a single family home, depending upon the budget, and if they can travel a little bit farther, invest on a single family home, because you are investing much more higher HOA money, where you can use that for your mortgage value. I think Kiran could explain about that in detail, because whatever the HOA, maybe the roof line or whatever, whatever they change it, it takes a lot of time, 25 years once, rather than that, I would travel a little bit farther and buy a single family home, which gives more value for my money.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That probably is a great suggestion for new home buyers. Ranjani, is there a reason why the home assessed value differs when compared to the market value?
Yes, that's a great question and a very important one. I think most people tend to interchange one and the other. And most of the times we get asked when homes are listed as well, like, hey, I'm looking at the tax county and it's showing like 300K lower. Why am I paying so much? And things like that. So, yes, that's an important question. So, it's important to understand the difference. So the assessed value of a home is generally used to calculate your property taxes. So it is used to anticipate and show you how much your home will be assessed by the county or the tax assessor. So basically what they do is, at the tax assessors, is they come and look at your property, look at, depending on different conditions, what are some of the updates that have been done. Are you been renting out and making extra income on the property? And there are a lot of factors that go into coming up with the assessed value of the home. So once they come up with that number, they also calculate the assessment rate depending on where you are. Within King County, it can be as high as, Bellevue has the highest tax rates, versus other places within King County. We're almost talking about like close to 1% of the sales price. So say, suppose for a particular community, it's like 80%. So that becomes the assessment rate. So for example, if a home is worth $150,000, the assessment rate is 80%. So your assessed value is 120,000. So that is what they are going to use to calculate the property taxes for your home.
Right.
So when we talk about market value, that is totally different. And market value is basically, in today's market, or the conditions that promote a market, are like what a buyer is willing to pay and what a seller is willing to take for that home. So
Right.
that's what
Bidding
depends
game.
on the market value. That could be anything.
It's a bidding game.
Yes, it is a bidding game, but that's where we try to bring some semblance into this whole equation by bringing in the appraisal component. So, appraisal is done by the lender to also come up with the fair market value of what the home should be worth, taking
Right.
into consideration all these crazy conditions. So the appraiser is a neutral third party who comes in and assesses the value of the home based on other comparables or similar homes that have sold in the neighborhood, and tells you that, this is the market value it should be at. You might have paid 100K more than that. That's a different story. But
Right.
that's where you try to come up with these. We help our clients to understand the appraisal contingency, which is, I think, the most critical in this market, is to understand that how much a bank is willing to lend you on the property. And if you're not able to come up with the appraisal value, then you should be ready with the difference to bridge the gap between the appraised price and the sales price. So
Okay.
that is the basic difference between, assessment and market value.
Thank you. So there was a question for you, Ranjani.
Yes.
So can a real estate agent help in interactions with the lender to the advantage of a buyer?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So definitely, we do get ourselves involved, and we are more of a mediator between the lender and the buyer, so to speak, because there are some of these jargons that buyers don't understand off the top. They are asked, okay, go with the 7 bar 1 arm or go with the 30 years fixed. They are like, what is all this? So the arm rates are like adjustable rate mortgage, which allow you to lock in rates for a certain period of time, and then they can vary. So we are allowed to, talk to obviously to the lender and help with all the understanding of the loan component, but we are not directly allowed to talk with the appraisers. Like, we are allowed to give them data to help make a decision, but not influence
Right.
them in a way which could affect the value of the property. So we are not allowed to tell them, hey, this is what the home sold for. Can you come in as close as possible to this number? So that is not something that should be done. And even the lenders are totally not allowed to do that. There are a lot of acts and things like that, which we don't want to get into, where they can be asked to step down from their position, because that's a big violation. We are trying to have a non biased market. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Lakshmi Ravi, I hope your question is answered. Thank you for the question. Keep them coming. We will continue and we will answer your questions as much as possible. So Naina, if somebody wants to say something?
I have a quick question on that. So,
Sure.
just talking about the, lenders, the title company. This is one thing I never knew. But does realtors gets any kickbacks for working with a particular title company or with the lenders? Is there anything in part of it?
Not
I
at
can
all. So
Not at all.
I can answer that for
No,
you.
not at. I mean,
Only,
who wants
yeah,
to
okay.
answer? I think
only
it's
feedback
open
you
to
could
everybody.
possibly get is the peace of mind that I know the lender will close on time. And the rules and regulations are so strict that lender and the realtor cannot even take each other out for lunch. Like that strict
Oh,
of a rule.
fantastic.
We even
Okay.
if we wish each
Yeah.
other like on holidays or Diwali, we cannot exchange gifts. And this is in between a realtor, a inspector, a lender, or any other parties involved. That's why it's become like a drill that whenever I refer some lender to a buyer, I'll say, "Hey, I have no vested interest. The only vested interest or incentive I have is you will have this peace of mind that this lender is going to close your loan on time, and I have the peace of mind that he's going to be reachable off business hours whenever I need, or like I told you, like after 8 p.m. I know this lender is going to be available if I need him to call your listing agent and convey some information, if things go south. That's the only incentive. And I'm so glad, Naveen, you brought up that question because it's very clear for
Yeah, I
everyone.
wanted to
That
clear the air
yes.
because, typically agents seem to, kind of incline towards a title company. It might be just because of the relationship they had before or they know somebody personally over there, and at this, I don't know much about the lending side of it, but title company is where I always wondered, oh, why she always goes to this particular person,
So one thing
right?
that I could like
Obviously,
to
the next
answer,
question. Yeah.
yes. So one thing that I could think of answering why somebody would be biased towards a title company or escrow company is maybe the added benefits that they could provide for the clients. Like for
Mhm.
example, my yesterday's closing was done completely remotely, and there was only this title and escrow company that I am aware of which does this very smoothly, because my clients are not comfortable going out anywhere and they want to do like a remote online signing. So very few escrow companies would allow that. So that could be one of the incentives that I could think of based on which I would choose a particular title and escrow company. But other than that, there is no incentive, no kickback, not even like a single dollar.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Fantastic.
And we
Yeah.
are also supposed to give out like three names for everything. So we are not supposed to give out just one company. So even when the disclosures that we send to our buyers, we put in like three inspector referrals or three lender referrals so that they have options. So we should not limit them and steer them in a particular direction. So we always try to give them more options and then they can choose one from them or, find their own company. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, good to
Uh,
know. Thank you.
It's one word. What we can say is, if you do anything like that, it's illegal. That's it. That's the
yeah.
only word what we can use.
Thank,
It's illegal. We cannot
thank
do that.
you. Thank you, Prakash. I mean, these are really very good information. I'm sure most of the viewers, most of us would probably be thinking about this kind of stuff. But thank you for definitely clearing the waters for most of us here on the call and later when people would watch this show. So my next question is for Sunaina, and there are some questions that are coming up in the chatter. I will ask them, but I have another question for Sunaina from my list. So, how easy or tough is it to sell a house you had purchased recently when you suddenly decided to go back to go back to your home country or India or wherever?
Yeah, post COVID, post 2020, I guess this has become a pretty common scenario where some families have decided to go back to their home country. The actual process itself is very easy to sell a house. Like, I have had clients who've just handed over their keys to me, and right from getting the things updated in the house to listing it, doing staging, photography, every single thing that's needed till they receive the entire amount in their account is all taken care by me. Uh, it's if you follow logically everything, and if you find the person that you trust, it is a very hassle free process. All you need to do is find the person whom you trust and who's able to list your house, because fortunately, due to technology, sellers can sign from anywhere that they can. So it is a very hassle free process for
Right.
sure. And talking about numbers, it I can give you a very interesting example. Feb 2021, we closed on a house in Purelip, and within 3 months, the client changed his mind and decided to upgrade and buy another house. So we got into a contract for a house for him, and within 40 hours, we were able to clean the house, stage the house, get pictures taken, list the house, and in the next 60 hours, like from the start of his decision, in the next few hours, we were able to get into pending and close the house. And he also didn't just break even, but made profit because the house had already appreciated 20% in 4 months. So,
Nice.
number wise, that's the game that you're looking at. And I have never seen any house that is sold for a loss. I have always seen that sellers are able to conventionally pay the 6% commission and then still make some profit.
Make,
The worst case
okay.
scenarios that I've seen is break even for people who purchased around the 2008 mark.
Okay. Yeah, you actually answered a question I already had. So
Oh,
awesome.
sorry
So
about
they,
that.
so that is awesome. I was about to ask you, like, if people do things like that, does the value of the house depreciate? But you just said it appreciates
Yeah.
depending on the market. So
See,
that's
that's the
awesome.
best thing about a Seattle market. As much as I would like to complain when I'm on the buyer side that it's escalating and then some people cannot afford it, it really breaks my heart to tell young couples that you can no longer afford a house in a particular city. But on the other side, the beauty of the market is you could buy and you could sell within few months or days, and you could still make profit and it could appreciate.
Nice.
Like, I'll
Nice.
give you the within 90 days, a house was sold and then relisted and sold again, and the price in the difference of these 90 days was $300,000. So
Whoa.
where else would you make $300,000 in 90 days?
And
I'm not
yeah.
into the profession unless I'm into Bollywood or something like that. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Thank you so much. Prakash, this question is for you. Under
Yeah.
what instances can one back out after having their offer accepted?
First thing, it's not good advice to back off after getting mutual always. That's one advice what I would tell all my clients. Think twice or thrice before you do a decision. That's one thing. And coming to the point, what are the instances, like, okay. First thing, there is a 3-day buyer remorse, which the buyer can go back out of the contract, even before paying the owner's fee. Always it's either 2 days or 3 days, you know, that is working days, business days. What I mean to say, if a contract is done on a Friday, then you have time till Tuesday, to back off. So till that time you can do that. That is first thing what you can do. Okay. And if you have any contingencies with you, then you can use those contingencies to back off, like, for example, inspection contingency, where you are doing an inspection within 2 days or 3 days, whatever time frame you have given. It doesn't mean that 3 days whatever you have given, like, you can do an inspection on on the third day, and then you have some more days to respond to the seller. You need to do the inspection and respond to the seller before 3 days, or on or before 3 days. So there, during the response, you can back off.
Okay.
Okay, you don't have to give any reason why your inspection failed. You can back off, or you don't have to do the inspection, then you can back off. These are things where you can get out of the contract again. And on new construction, one thing you have is like, you have finance contingency always. So you need to submit a commitment letter from the lender within 21 days after your mutual contract in the sense, like, both the builder and buyer has signed the contract. So in those days you can still back off. And then again, new construction, you have another thing where you have public offering statement, where you need to accept or reject it within 5 to 7 days, depending upon the builder.
I see.
In these are things where you can walk out of the contract. When
Thank you.
after all the things, you think, you don't like the house, or you don't like anything in that location, something like that, you want to back off, or you want to increase your budget and move out somewhere else, yeah, you can do all these things.
Thank you.
These are the instances.
Thank you. Ranjini, this
Yeah.
question is for you. How much do I pay an agent to help me buy a house? Sorry. Bad question, but I want my viewers to know. So we can't hear you.
Yeah, I know this is the $1 million question. So everybody wants to know how much I owe the agent. So the good news is, if you are hiring a buyer's agent, in most of the cases, I know things have changed around a bit, but most of the cases you do not have to pay your buyer's agent. The service is free to you, and you don't owe the buyer's agent anything. So the seller, in this case, the seller is the person who pays both the buyers and the listing agent or the seller's agent's commissions. And but the beauty about the whole process is, even though we are paid by the sellers, if I'm representing you as a buyer's agent, all my obligation is to you. So I have the fiduciary duty to take care of all your interests and make sure that you're represented in the best possible way once we decide to work with you. So there is that the sense of satisfaction for you to know that somebody is there to protect your interests and to take care of it. But if you are representing the seller, if you're the listing agent, then the seller has to pay the commissions to the buyers and the seller's side in the most situations. And honestly, that is where we, help them show that what kind of value that we bring to them. And I help my sellers understand that, this is how much you can make off from the home. So that gives them, the numbers and the peace of mind that they can make profit even after paying these amounts. So it honestly depends on, how we explain it to the sellers and what services that we provide along with the, the services that we have. So that's what gives you the breakdown of how much you need to pay your agent.
Perfect. Thank you so much. There's one question specifically for you from Jayanti. Will a real estate agent help the buyer seller when he runs into some legal issues, legal problems?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question and needs to be addressed off the top. So I tell all my clients, our job is to help you get into contracts, but not to get out of contracts. So we do, all our efforts are to help you get a home. But, if you are looking for loopholes and ways and means to back out of a contract, then our best bet is to, direct you to a real estate agent, lawyer. So we are legally allowed to help you when you have contingencies, as Prakash spoke about, which are like legal ways that are built into the contract to serve the buyer's needs. And if it is something that is within those allowed timelines and allowed contingencies, then yes, definitely we can help you. But sometimes buyers are, mostly we do understand their situation, but they are trying to have their eggs in all the baskets. So if it's a situation like that, then our best bet is to direct them to a real estate attorney who can help them get more clarity on the situation. And I think the best part is most of the top employers like in the area, they do allow them the real estate attorney services. So many of my clients, I also suggest them to run their contract by an attorney if that gives them the extra peace of mind. So they know what are their due diligence within their due diligence period, what they can and cannot do.
That's a great advice. Thank you, Ranjani.
And most of the
Sunaina?
employers cover that one too, right? The legal advice, most of the employers like Microsoft, my
Yes.
company, they all cover it. That's a free of, free
The
of cost.
Arag services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used that couple of times. They
Mhm.
review the contract. I think it's a pretty good service. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Thank you,
Also,
Naveen.
I would add to it and say sometimes it's not that easy to get out of the contract without losing a chunk of your earnest money, right?
Right,
Like, say, to win a house realistically in our market, we're putting like really high six-figure earnest money sometimes, and that's the actual reality of the situation. So maybe brainstorming a little bit more with a client before making an offer will always help. Like my strategy is to have like constants and variables spelled out, and then talk to the client extensively about how they feel about the house. And if there are two partners involved in buying a house, I want both of them to see the house individually and give me the feedback, and then discuss in detail that whether they like the house at least 8 out of 10 points, and then proceed and make an offer. And I always ask them like, hey, do you really in the house, and have you in your mind tomorrow, are you going to be okay? Then waive the contingencies. Or if I see a slight hesitation in either one of the answers, in their tone, the way they're answering me, or their excitement level, then I would say it's always about risk assessment, right? So if that hesitation is there, then to protect my buyers, I would add a contingency and go the extra mile and explain to the listing agent that this contingency exists to protect the buyer, but they're very motivated for the house. So in between, play that safe ground so that you don't reach that situation where there's a lot of anxiety on how to back out of the offer, which absolutely gives you no door to go out. So that will be more of my approach.
Thank you. Since you're talking about it, I have a question in the same lines. Can the same agent legally represent both the clients for some property, right? For the same property?
So you mean for the same house, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So NWMLS does not really, as far as I know and my understanding is, NWMLS does not prohibit the same agent, the buyer's agent, from representing two clients. But for me, it's a different scenario because I take up few buyers at a time. I take up only 5 or 6 buyers at one time. And then it's more about quality, service, than quantity. And if there is like I own a team of 8 realtors. So if my realtor A has shown this house to one of the clients, and then realtor B is also involved, and we have another client, then first thing, I haven't come across this situation, and if I do in future, then it would be to call both the clients, the buyers first, and explain to them very, very candidly that, hey, I will be making 2 offers based for 2 buyers. Rules wise, legally, there is no rules that you cannot, but I think ethically for sure would be very responsible in telling both of them and taking it from there.
So Prasad, is the question like the realtor being a listing agent and also the buyer's agent?
Oh yeah, if that is the question, then the answer is completely different. So was that the question?
So I
No,
think
it's 2 clients. No, your answer was
Okay.
right.
Okay.
It's for 2 clients.
Naveen, that was the question.
I would not put Sunaina in the spot.
No,
so
I will
don't
answer.
you worry about that.
No, I will
So
I know because I have done that multiple times, use the same agent, So yeah.
Yes, it's called dual agency, where a single agent will represent the buyer and the seller. Fortunately, I don't do dual agency because, like I told you, lawyer's job can't defend
Yeah.
both guilty and
Yes.
victim. But some
Yes.
firms and brokerages do allow their agents to do both dual agencies where they can represent both the parties.
Okay.
But Skyline does not allow it.
Thank you.
And the other point I would like to add is that if you are into a situation where you have shown the home to two of your clients and they both are interested, I think definitely it's a point where you can talk to one of the clients. We tell them that with whoever we have had our relationship where we got to know them longer, we kind of tell them that we have shown you this home, but what we can help you with is refer you to another really good agent who can also help you place an offer on the home without so that we ensure that none of the terms and other confidential details are being shared back and forth. So the minute you know that potentially two other buyers would be interested in the same home, I think it's important to refer it out to somebody whom you trust and share that information with your clients so that there is no conflict of interest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Prakash, should I order a home inspection when I like the house before even putting an offer?
Yeah, it all depends. The present market situation. All the sellers are doing the inspection and giving the inspection report. Usually, before buying the house, I would always advise my clients to do an inspection. It's most needed. It's not that the inspection will make or break the deal. It gives you that peace of mind what you can expect from the house, like what is the maintenance, what you need to expect from the house, moving forward. It is not that no house usually will be in that situation where except for these flippers where the investors buy it and then remodel it and then sell it. Other than that, usual houses, it's not going to be in that situation where it's breaking down or coming down drastically. So just to keep everything safe, what you can expect moving forward, what is the maintenance things, like your water heater, your furnace, what is the age of the roof, what is the condition of the roof, your attic space, your crawl space, your plumbing connections, electrical connections, your moisture content in the bathrooms or you're in the kitchen, these kind of stuff. And the laundry room, are the vents okay, are the vents secured properly, all these things, just to know everything, you need to have an inspection. So that's very very important before submitting an offer if the a house doesn't have an inspection report by the seller.
Thank you. That is really good information. I have a few questions in the chatter, but before going to them, I think one would definitely get somewhere closer to what our Kiran can answer. So I'm going to shift gears and move on to the next topic of our conversation today. So all yours, sir, Kiran. The floor is yours.
Sure.
So what is a mortgage and how does it work?
Mortgage is essentially like when you're buying a home, like let's say like you're buying for like 500,000, and like obviously like you do not have the entire 500,000 cash. Like I mean, like some people do, but like most of the people like us don't have that, and like they need financing from the bank to be able to get the remaining part of the loan. So that's like, so whatever is the down payment that you're doing, like let's say you are doing 50,000 for a 500,000 purchase, the remaining 450,000 is the mortgage on the home. It's like they put a lien on the home, and then like they can they get the title to the home, and like you get to pay the every month like a payment for that.
Thank you. So, in terms of the maximum loan amount, there is a question from Guru Bhaskar. He wants to know what is the maximum loan amount will be approved by lenders for a guy, he says, as for a person who has been getting very good salary and willing to pay only 5% as down payment. For example, a house price of 1 million and willing to pay 50,000 as down payment. And he heard that 760,000 loan amount will be approved in Washington state. Is that true?
That is correct. Like it's basically like a 760,000, 776 is the maximum loan amount in the King County and Snohomish County. And there are some other counties where it's a little bit lower. So when you are doing a 5% down payment, that's the maximum loan amount that you can get. So essentially, like the maximum purchase price would be somewhere around like 816 or 817,000.
Perfect. Thank you. So I have another question. This is more for our real estate agent friends here. So around Seattle area, what is the most new constructions that are happening and are coming up? Anybody?
New construction coming up, it's now more of Lake Stevens, Marysville, Munro, then down south it's Black Diamond, Kent, Covington. These are the places you are finding most of the new construction, and even Maple Valley. These are the places where you are getting a bunch of communities, like big communities, not just some few houses. It's a trend of 50 to 60 houses or more, and multiple builders. It's not just one builder doing that, it's multiple builders doing there, 3, 4, 5, these kind of things. Yeah.
Thank you, Prakash. Kiran, back to you. I know we've been talking about the pre-approval a lot of times in our conversation that has come up, but quickly, from a lender's perspective, what is pre-approval in a home buying process and what is its importance? What would you say?
Pre-approval is essentially like a lender making sure if the borrower who is trying to get the loan is worthy of his investment. So basically, we are trying to make sure, like if we want to invest in you, it's like more like a credit worthiness, or like is he able to? Are we giving him more than he can afford, or like is it like something that is within his affordable range, or like it's more like a lender doing his checks and balances before they are willing to give you money.
Okay, thank you. I want to pick one question from the chatter from our viewers. This question is interesting. It's a general question of course, to our real estate agent friends here. How genuine are the real estate agents towards buying? Do they rush to sell or be more straightforward, like giving pros and cons?
So I would like to answer that. So I think I can only talk to my experience. So I definitely like to mimic what my clients want to do. There are some clients who are like, they really know their timelines and they want to move quickly. They are probably moving out of state, as some of my clients did. They have sold their home, they have kids, and they don't want to continue living in rental homes. So they want to speeden up the process. So that doesn't mean rushing into it. We definitely, even though if they are going like, okay, this is the only home we've seen, we want to rush into it, I tell them to take a look at all the different options so that there is no guilt later. Because as we all know, buying a home is one of the biggest and most expensive purchases you'll ever do probably in your life. And you don't want to rush that process because there is, no way to step back again. So it's an important thing to know your timelines, but I don't think any of the agents, and that's where you need to talk to a couple of agents to understand if you are a good fit for each other. So I would definitely recommend all the buyers to, talk to a couple of agents, understand how their model works and how they want to work, and see if they are a good fit. Because we are here to help you and support you, and we are your partner in this business. So we are not to be seen as, the buyer is, the agent is rushing us or something, like we are on the opposite team. So we are here to help you. So you need to set the expectations, and we will, help you follow and guide you through that process.
Right. And
Yeah, I,
thank
I
you.
want to add a couple of things on that.
Yes,
What
sir.
Ranjini said is definitely whatever she said is true. And we are not here to sell homes. We are here to sell the dreams of our clients. So
Right.
naturally, we wouldn't rush them, or we definitely wouldn't advise anything, to do any, take any decisions out of frustration. So always it is better to look out properly and watch everything and then make a decision rather than rushing,
Right.
because yeah,
Right.
it is their dream investment.
Right.
Always, that's the way it has to be done.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I also do remember what Sunaina initially started our conversation as, it is more about people than numbers. So
Yeah,
I do
and
respect that.
like I
Yeah.
said, it's all about a business of people and not a business of homes. But having said that, I'm extremely aggressive and really, really fast when it comes to pursuing the home that the client really likes. So, for example, if the client has already seen the home online and has given me an idea that, hey, this is almost the home that I would really like, and the last step is to just go and see it in person, then I have my contracts, we have discussed everything, I have everything ready, and the moment he sees the house or even steps out of the house, we start negotiating with the listing agent. So that's not something that we would rush the buyer into, but yes, we would rush in competing and winning the house before somebody else comes in. But having said that, it also depends on the individual. Sometimes individuals, like buyers, are very clear that this is what I want, and a lot of my buyers have ended up buying the first home that they have seen, and they've had no buyer's remorse. So it would depend on how much of coaching and how much of brainstorming we've done even before they go and see the homes. Also, honestly, I'm understanding where this question is coming from, because it's a fact that realtors get paid by commission. So if a realtor is always having that the back of their head that, hey, to pay my bills I need to sell a house and this is a commission check that I need, then I think there would be an added incentive where they would feel like, okay, let me push the client and rush the client into selling this house and be done with it. So fortunately, by God's grace, I'm not in that space, so we could totally provide the honest opinion. But I do see that happen to few buyers where they are rushed into or on purpose not shown other homes, or shown homes where the buyer's agent's commission is at a higher end. But now thankfully since last year it's all out and open, so it's more easier for buyers to see and decide. But I think all those pointers should be provided to the buyer's agent and to the
Thank you
buyer.
so much. Thanks. That I'm sure that is definitely so valuable. Kiran, what kind of credit score do I need to have to buy a house?
I mean, like we can get a loan for credit score as low as 620, but like the lenders, like they obviously like they want to see how much is the risk, like in giving money to you. So like the higher the credit score, the better. But like most of the times, like 740 or above should get you qualified for the best mortgage rates. But like you can still get a loan even if your credit score is like 620 or above, but
Okay.
like that might stop you from getting some of the loans. Like maybe if you want to, if your credit score is like say like 660, and if you want to go buy a like 2.5 million house with 20% down, like you might not have a lot of options. But like we discussed, like we can go up to like 776 loan amount if your credit score is like a 680 or under.
Nice. Thank you.
And like another thing that I want to add, I mean, like a lot of people, like when they want to, like we're talking, getting back to pre-approval. So like if you want to buy a home, like try not to buy a car or expensive car, or like try not to get apply like some lot of new credit cards. I see a lot of people trying to get into trouble. I mean, like they go buy something at Macy's and they have this offer. Okay, like I get this credit card and then like we'll give you like a 10% discount or like maybe whatever it is, and then like they totally forgot about that. And then like a couple of months from now, and then they have this bill that unpaid, and then like their credit card, which used to be like 800 plus, now it's in like maybe low 700s or like 680s kind of thing. And like as a rule, I say, I mean, like never go for a credit card that you don't need. And like especially like Kohl's and then like Macy's and all these, like you're better off you spend that like extra $10, $20, you save a lot more in the later down
Yeah.
the process.
Yes.
Great
To
point
add
to
to
say.
that, I tell all my buyers, no spending more than $2,000, no jewelry, no diamonds, no Tesla, nothing from the time you win the house till you close. And this might
Okay.
feel funny, but I have seen a few deals of my colleagues fall apart because the boyfriend purchased a diamond ring to propose before the house was closed, and then the
Oh.
house did not close. So I kind of bring all these stories and tell the clients, and I really scare them to not. If they're spending more than $2,000, they have to call me and ask, "Okay, can I spend this?" Sometimes even a flight ticket or travel. So kind of being just on top of it is very important.
Hey, at least he got the diamond ring. What are you complaining
We don't
about?
have a house now to move
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Here, I
you.
have a question
So,
on the investment side of it. So, I mean, typically investors, buy home using, cash or taking some hard money, and then they try to refinance it, right? So typically I get into this thing that I have to wait for 6 months before I can refinance it at the what a priced value, so that I can get the money back, right? So, do you have any tips and tricks to avoid this, or
No,
is it
like there is no
set in
6 month
stone?
restriction. So like the only condition is like you can get a cash out like within 6 months. The only caveat is like you need to show where that money came from. I mean, like it can't be money that you borrowed from your friend to buy that house, and then like now you're trying to do a cash out. That's not allowed. As long as you are using your own money that we can verify and document that's your money, there is no issue with doing the cash out. You can do that the next day, and we do allow the market value for that. Like let's say you bought a home at auction, and then like you paid maybe like 500,000 for a home which is worth like 800,000,
Yes.
and like next day we were doing the refinance, we can appraise it at 800 and then give the loan based on that valuation.
But you
So
will only give me the 500,000, not more than 5,000,
yeah,
500,000.
so we will not allow you to do a cash out on that within 6 months, but like you can always take back your investment.
Okay, so that's pretty much set in the stone. Is that the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac thing? Is that
Yes, it's a Fannie and Freddie that makes those rules. And then like most of the banks, like for the jumbo rules, we don't have to follow them, but like there is no incentive for being aggressive there.
there's one question Surendra Babu asks. Can you please let me know how the split entry model homes are like in the future?
as opposed to like a Rambler, right? Is that probably opposed to be a Rambler kind of
Can
thing?
you
Is
please
that
repeat the question?
No,
In future?
it's not Rambler. Split entry is a kind of what do you say? The design
you
of
have
the
two
home.
levels? Yeah,
Like a
correct.
two level,
It's
basically
it
you
two.
enter on the main level and then you have one level going up with the living and the kitchen and other bedrooms, but on the lower level you have like a basement, right, Prakash? Like,
Yeah, it's kind of like, when you open the door, it is just, what we call in the technical language, dog-legged staircase, where, you just open your front door, enter, you just find the stairs, one stair going up, one stair
Yeah,
going
one
down.
step went down.
Yeah, so that's where,
Yes.
the upper floor, you have your kitchen, living area, and 2 or 3 bedrooms depending upon the size of the home, and then, on the lower area, the basement kind of thing, where you have a living space or a entertainment space or whatever, and another bedroom, and a bathroom kind of thing.
So, what is the prospect on this? That's what Surendra is asking.
It's more of like, out of trend nowadays. More of people are looking, towards two-level homes. Even they're not that much interested in multi-level homes, or even basement homes, depending upon the size of the home. If the size of the home is bigger, then it makes sense, because you have lot of utility space. If it's smaller, then the utility space is much more, less. That is where you know the design of the home comes. So most of the split level homes are, older homes, very older homes, so which are not that much of a big trend right now. Ramblers are a big trend, definitely, because ramblers carry much more higher lot sizes, where you have better opportunities to expand the home, either vertically or horizontally. So
Thank you.
that carries much more higher value than the two-story ones, or multi-level ones, or split-level ones.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, welcome.
I think the
Um,
positive side of split level, if we have to look, is some of my clients, what they have done is they have given the lower portion on rent, because they usually tend to have like an other entrance. So most of the people have been using it as like an Airbnb space as well, if they are a smaller family, or they are just using the upper level since it has its own entrance. So it's also sometimes called like a mother-in-law unit, where it would have its own kitchen space and living and dining, so it could be easily rented out. So mostly people who do end up buying split levels at least buy it for the area. So if you're buying it probably in Redmond and Kirkland or Bellevue, it has its own advantages that you can tack on to it by helping with paying for the payments by renting it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's
Yeah.
where I told, I said it all depends upon the size of the home. Based on the size of the home, the split level works. If lower the square footage of the home, then definitely mother-in-law is difficult, because you will not have a kitchen space, laundry space, all these things, where it has to be shared by the main level itself.
Yeah,
So
thank you. Moving on to Kiran. How much do I need to have for a down payment?
It really depends on the price range of the homes that you're looking at. Like we're discussing, like if you're trying to borrow something like under 550,000, you can do under first-time home buyer. We can do as low as like a 3% down payment, or like if you're going up to like maybe 800, 820, like you can do 5% down. And once you exceed that limit, typically we need at least 10% down payment.
10%. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So somebody said there are some 309 homes that are coming in Mount Crest's Lake Stevens area. So thank you for the information, Guru Bhaskar. So Swami is asking, what is the resale value, resale market for a 3-bedroom, 3 BHK townhouse?
Where would be the question? It's all about the location.
it's all,
Yeah.
yes, it's the location, the condition of the home, and yes, the type of townhome.
It's just all about the location in real estate. Location, location, and location. So unless the
Exactly.
location is
Yeah,
specified, we would not be able to say. Like you could buy a
$100 cash.
$2 million, 900 square feet condo apartment in Seattle,
cash
skyrise.
computer on yes.
Okay. So that's good information. Unfortunately, we could not give Swami what he was looking for, because he could not give us full information on the question. So hopefully he can type in here and then we can answer him later. So let's go on to Kiran, types of mortgages, fixed and arm loan. What are the difference between these, and what is a 30-year fixed, 15-year fixed, etc.? And which one is the best that anybody could choose?
I will answer the last question. Like the mortgage that fits your needs is the best one. I mean, like I'm buying a home and I plan on living there like maybe 5 6 years. For me, there is no point going for a 30-year fix. Maybe I'll go for a 5-year arm or 7-year arm, or like so like the best one is the one that fits and then like that's affordable for you. There is no one size fits all. So it really
Okay.
depends on each individual. Like that's the reason. Like when I'm talking to somebody, like I get a lot of people calling me and then like texting me, hey, what's the rate? What's the rate? I don't know. I mean, like I don't know the rate. Like I'm I don't know what you qualify for. Like so how much down payment you are doing, or like what is the home price worth, and then like how is your credit score, and like what kind of like loan program you're interested in. Like there are a lot of variables in there. And like to answer your question, like what is 5-year arm, 7-year arm? So like most of the loans in general, like those are given for a term of like 30 years. So like we lend you the money and then like you are expected to pay it back in a period of 30 years. So that is the term, like the default term that we go with. And like we have this 30-year fix, which is pretty straightforward, like where your interest rate is fixed for the next 30 years. And then like we have this 15-year fix where you are willing to pay off the loan in 15 years instead of 30-year period, and like the interest rate is fixed for this 15 years. And we have other terms like 20 years, 10 years, and then like now you can literally do like how many number of years you want to, like if you want to pay it off in like 24 years, you can do that. Like there are options to do that, but like in general, like that's the term that you want to pay off the loan in. And then like if the loan is fixed for the entire period, it's called fixed. And like there is another option, like where interest rate is fixed for the certain period, like say 5-year arm, the interest rate is fixed for the first 5 years, and then it after that period you go into an adjustable period where it resets like every 6 months or once a year kind of thing. And like they have some caps, like for more like a protection for the buyers, like say this is the maximum that you will hit over the life of the loan. So I mean, like if there is super inflation and then like maybe interest rates are like 15% or something like that, in those instances there are caps like which say like this is the maximum that you can go over the life of the loan. You are never going to pay like more than 7.5% or something like that. I mean, like that sounds a lot, but like in the current environment, like but usually like there are caps to protect the borrowers from that. And like the 7-year arm, like it's fixed for the 7 years, or like 10-year arm, it's fixed for 10 years. So
I see.
depending on like your scenario and your affordability, like you basically want to choose the option that works best for you.
Okay, so
Mhm.
if I want to buy a house and if I'm going to you, Kiran,
Mhm.
and I have no clue
Mhm.
what I'm doing, where I'm going, so
Mhm.
would you really sit with me and ask me questions and talk to me into what all these loan types would be, and what is the advantages, what are the processes, how they work for my lifestyle, for my income? Do you usually do that, or is there somebody who would be doing that?
I will be the one who will be doing that.
Okay.
Like, so I will be like basically like talking to you. I mean, like, it's more about understanding your needs, like rather than like, I mean, like, if you just want to get a mortgage, like there are websites like where you can
Yeah.
apply and then like, so you can get it. But like, it's more about your understanding and then like, so what kind of like loan fits your needs, and then like, what is your lifestyle? I mean, like, and then like, I get some people say like, I mean, like, I don't want to be spending more than 3,000 a month. So that is the maximum budget that I have, and then like help me with that. So I mean, like we have to tailor. Okay, so maybe we need to increase a little bit more down payment, or like and if you only have like a 5% down, maybe we need to wait a 6 months more so that you can save more and keep it more affordable. Like those are the kind of things. And then like how long do you plan on staying here? Like I mean, like maybe somebody buying a condo. This is their starter home. There is no
Mhm.
point going for 30-year fix. Like, I mean, like,
Right.
so you just got married and then like you got into a, like maybe 2 bedroom condo. What's the point of getting a 30-year fix? I mean, like you're just paying, like throwing away unnecessary money. That's like getting an insurance, like most expensive insurance you don't need. You might as well be okay just going for like a 5-year arm or 7-year arm. And then like when you're selling that home, like you just pay off the mortgage and get into a bigger home. So like there are a lot of things like that I need to understand, and like sit like more analyze and then like understand your needs, and then like I can basically recommend options based on that.
I just want to add
Thank you.
a few quick words, even though the question was directed to Kiran. Based on my experience with him, he is an extremely honest and candid person. He will advise you and he will tell you the risk and he'll say, okay, don't go over this. And my experience has been amazing with him. Like all my buyers are so happy with the kind of work and the prompt service and the kind of diligence he will do on your file and recommend you which route to go. Like hats off to his patience level. He's just amazing to work with.
Thank
There
you
you
so
go,
much.
Kiran.
Yeah.
Credits.
Thank you.
Yeah. And this is the
Thank
first
you.
time I'm seeing him. He's not taken me out for a lunch or anything, or no gift.
Yeah.
Disclaimer.
Hey, that disclaimer has already been
Yes,
given by
yes.
Yeah.
you like
Mhm.
10 minutes ago. So
Mhm.
we trust you on that. There have been a ton of questions that are coming very interesting. Before I go there, Kiran, what is earnest money in the offers?
So earnest money is more like a deposit that you put with escrow, saying that like, so it's kind of like your interest on the home, that I'm willing to put this money and then like I'm interested in buying this house. And like if I don't go forward with my purchase, like we had some questions about like what if I back off, or like what if I change my mind? I mean like we come across a lot of buyers like which we call like a buyer's remorse. I'm like they are so excited and like they want this home, they want this home, they want this home, and then like they got the home and then like suddenly they change their mind. Oh, I don't. Maybe I'm spending myself. I'm stretching myself. Maybe this is not the right home, kind of thing. I mean, like this, it's there like to basically like prove their interest to the seller, or like stop this kind of like a flip flop behavior. It's more
Right.
like a Ranjini said earlier. I mean, like the seller is not protected. I mean, like once he signs the dotted line, he has to sell that house. I mean, like he doesn't have an option to change his mind.
Right.
Like this in a way kind of like protects the seller,
Okay.
and like that
Uh,
is counted towards the down. I get this question quite a bit. So when you're putting like 20,000 or 50,000 as earnest money, it does count towards your down payment. It's not the money that you are giving away. It is your down payment.
okay. Thank you. We have some questions. I would ask Ramesh to get answers for most of the questions that are in the chatter. I have one more other question for Kiran. What are the closing costs involved in buying a house?
There are like so the like there are various costs. Like when you're buying a home, there are like a lot of people involved in helping you through the process. Lender is one of them. Like basically like they want to get compensated for their services. Like they charge something called like underwriting fee, and besides that, like there is a credit reporting agency like Equifax, Experian. So they help with the credit report and then like getting all the credit details. And there are like a title companies like who help with for making sure the title of the home is correct and doing all that research, like to make sure, like say if seller is saying that like I'm the owner and I'm selling this home, we need to make sure he is in fact the legal owner, and then like there is no
Right.
like some kind of lien on the house, like, and then
Mhm.
like the title company does all that research. And then like we have this escrow company basically like who is acting as a like a middleman. So all these various companies that are working for the transaction, like it's their fees, those are all the closing costs. So like there are the like lender fees, there are the title and escrow fees, and then like when we're recording the home in the county, there are certain fees that we need to pay to the county. So there are like recording fees. So like these are all the costs that you incur. And besides that, like there are some other fees like not exactly fees, like the property taxes, home insurance, and the bank, like they would like to collect certain months of like the money and put it as a reserve, so that like we have this money to make the next payment that is coming up. So these are called like prepaids. So all these are all called like closing costs.
Thank you so much. I really sincerely apologize to our few of our viewers who had their questions that we could not address here in this conversation, but I'm sure there we have other ways to answer their questions. Kavya, Swami, Priyanka, and Arun Kumar, we will answer your questions, but for now, we spent about a couple of hours on this call, and I want to thank each one of you on Prakash, Kiran, and I'm so bad with names. So Sunaina and Ranjani, thank you so much. Excellent information. I'm sure. Is anybody looking for buying a new house or buying more houses in the market? Would have definitely got a lot of advantage information from this. So thank you so much, and have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you for this
Thank you.
opportunity. It was very nice to, have this panel and to discuss. And I think we have all given like our best information out there, and it was a great learning experience as well.
Very good information given. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was very
pleasure being on the
enriching to
panel.
listen to everybody,
Yeah.
which was great because I think as realtors we talk so much, and today it was a good change to listen to what beautiful thoughts Prakash and Ranjani had. And then I especially want to thank Prasad and Naveen's patience for sure, and Kiran as well.
No, thank you so
Have a
much.
good night.
Thank you.
Naveen, thank you for your questions as well. They were really important for definitely a community or in a set of people in our community.
Absolutely. I think we should do something on an investment, just purely on the investment, take it to the next level. Yeah.
Sure. We'll take your input, Naveen. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.